Alright, I'm excited to get this open and going. I just got in the mail the Maker Fire Armor 65 Pro. This is the FR Sky compatible edition. I like this nice little carrying case here. Right off the bat, what I see here, we got 3 different canopies, a bunch of extra props in different colors. Open this up, the top. Wow, this is a really nice case. Alright, ooh. Alright, got right and left props. Okay. Alright, prop removal tool. Instruction manual for your FR Sky receiver that's on board. Nice little instruction booklet on this Armor 65 Pro. Alright. We get 3 batteries. These are 1S 260 lithium high voltage packs. So make sure you have a lithium high voltage compatible charger. Wow, nice little area here for storing lots of batteries. You got a charger here. Oh, look at that. Plug it into USB or even an XT60 connector here and charge it from in here. Tiny charger. That's pretty cool. Oh, and let's see here. You got a little rubber band that holds the thing in place. Pull it out. Here's the Armor 65 Pro. Alright, as you can see, here's the camera. There we go, there's the camera. So this is your Tiny Whoop class of indoor micro FPV flying. This one is FR Sky only. So there you have it. This is going to be some fun. I've been wanting to get an indoor micro FPV flying. Man, I really like this case. The only thing you need is an FR Sky compatible transmitter at this point. One of the things also included in this kit is a quick Lipo Checker. It's kind of hard to see, but there's LEDs labeling voltage all the way from 4.3 down to 3.7 volts. So I'm going to plug in one battery here, and this is coming up 4.1. It's kind of hard to see it, it's so small. So I'll have to give it a quick charge. So I have this battery plugged into the included charger. The included charger is being powered by a USB cable right now. You can plug in a LiPo battery with an XT60 connector to power it. Now, if you want to use this charger, be very careful and read the instructions. It's very clear that if you're powering by an XT60 connector to another LiPo, it supports a 2 to a 4S input to there, so I could take a 3S 2200 and plug it in. If you're powering via XT60, you can use all 6 of the ports. If you're using a USB connection, you can only use ports 4, 5, and 6. Ooh. Oh. Oh, I went under it that time.
Yeah. Pretty good. So you don't feel it. Oh my god. Oh, you crashed it a little.
Alright. So I have roughly 12 to 15 flights here on the Armor 65. This is the Armor 65 Pro version. Just want to talk about my experience and some tips and tricks that I've found. One thing to notice right away when binding, I'm borrowing a friend's Tyrannus. I think this is the 9X. I'm not super familiar with the FR Sky line of transmitters, as I primarily fly Spectrum and Tactic. I had to double check the instruction manual on the FR Sky XM receiver to get it to bind correctly. There's a little button on the bottom that you have to access to press to turn on to bind with. Even then, after I bound, things weren't working correctly. I couldn't get it to spin up. It was pretty cool. In the manual, there is a personal. I tested this, and it flew, and it worked, and everything's in the package, but it wasn't working for me. So since I wasn't getting any responses from receiver input, I went on the flight, hooked it up to beta flight configurator, and I actually ended up having to change the aileron, throttle, elevator, rudder mapping from FR Sky to Spectrum. Don't know why. That's what I had to end up doing. Once I did that, my receiver started to respond in the beta flight configurator with the proper inputs. On the transmitter, I enabled switch SF. That maps to aux1 in beta flight. That's my arming switch. So once I did all that, I was able to get the receiver to work, everything bound up correctly. Inside the armor on the flight controller, I'm not sure if I can get it on this video here. Yeah, I can. So inside the armor on the flight controller are two switches, two little pads to press. One of them is your bootloader, and the other one is actually your VTX signal or channel selection. The armor only comes with a 16-channel VTX, and it's clearly expressed in the manual. 16-channel VTX, and it's clearly expressed in the manual. One thing that the Pro version does come with is this Lipo Checker. I have no idea how well it's going to work for you on the camera. But you plug it in, your Lipo in. This is the larger style connector. Plug it in, and you have lights from 3.7 all the way up to 4.3 because these are high voltage lithiums. So you can use this little checker to check your status of your packs. This charger, I've only used it connected to the USB port. I have not charged up a 2203S LiPo to charge. But charging via USB port, instructions are cleared. Only use ports 4, 5, and 6 when you're charging. I use a 5-volt wall charger, and I can charge all 3 of these batteries in about 30 to 45 minutes. I've not flown this outdoors. It's been too cold. It's been way too windy for me to feel comfortable with it. Indoors, on a flat line, the Armor 65 picks up a ton of speed. I actually crashed into a picture frame, knocked it off the wall, and broke the glass in it with this. So don't underestimate the speed this guy can carry. Some other things that I've found useful here is that if the Armor 65 takes a pretty good tumble or hits something fairly hard, you need to disarm and wait 10-15 seconds, then rearm, and the props will spin up. I guess the flight times, the manual advertises 4 to 5 minutes. I find that I'm getting closer to 3 to 4 minutes. I personally don't like flying my LiPos down low. I prefer to take care of them. So this Lipo Checker every time has been around 3.7 volts. You really want to store your LiPos around 3.8. Since there's not a storage charge on this, it's a different connector than what I have for LiPo chargers that would work to storage charge. I try not to fly below 3.7. So I'm finding my flight times, I keep closer to 3 minutes than the 4 to 5. But if you have a way to be able to put the LiPos on storage, you can get the 4 to 5 minutes. If you're not aggressive in your flying, you spend more time picking it up, sure, you can probably get a little bit closer to 5 minutes. The other thing is I haven't really had any success trying to update the firmware on the flight controller. It is kind of awkward to connect to the Betaflight because the USB port, the micro USB port, is on the bottom, sticking out 90 degrees. So you can't get the quadcopter to sit flat and level if you're hooked up to Betaflight, which means the gyro calibration might be off a little bit because you're going to have to hold it level with the cord coming out. That's just a minor thing. It's more of an inconvenience. I mean, honestly, if it's up and running, you don't really need to be messing in Betaflight unless you're just one of those that wants to just test out new stuff. The VTX has worked very well. I've used this UVC receiver. I've used my Eachine VR011s. And I've used my Eachine VR007s. The signal picked up. Was able to pick up the signal with all the three of those. So standard 5.8. Man, I'm just blown away by this package. This is the Pro package, which means you get the 3 Lipos, the Lipo Checker, the Armor 65, a nice charger, you get extra props, you get the extra canopies, and you get a prop changing tool. I don't have cats and dogs, but hair gets wrapped up around these motors quite easily. So I've had to take my props off after a couple, every flight or so and check them and make sure hair's off. So that's just a little thing to keep it on the lookout for. But I mean, if you're looking for a fantastic indoor FPV quadcopter that can take a beating, I mean, mine has tumbled downstairs. I've slammed into picture frames. I've slammed into walls. I've slammed into Legos and toys. I mean, you name it. This thing is taking a beating. And it's still surviving. These are still the original props. I got a little nick in one, but it's still flying well. The frame's not even dented. If you're an FR Sky user, for $89.99 US dollars as of March 2017, this is a fantastic package. This is the FR Sky version. It's the only version out there right now. But if you're an FR Sky user, it's definitely worth the money.